Hello everyone. Today we'll study about control structures and conditional statements. There are three types of structures in programming, namely sequence structure, selection structure, and repetition structure. Sequence structure means a statement will be executed in a sequential manner, line by line. The compiler will not skip any line but will execute every line one after the other. Whereas selection structure is conditional structure. If the condition is true, only in that case the statement will be executed. Else, the compiler will skip the statement and move ahead. For this, C has the three techniques: if else, else if, and switch case. This is the main topic of our today's class, and we will be discussing it in detail later on in this class. The third type of structure is repetition structure. This structure is in this structure, a particular statement is repeated a definite given number of times under certain given conditions. We will study about this structure in depth in the next class. To better understand these structures, we make flowcharts because as these structures have data flowing and skipping and repeating, for this purpose it is better to understand these structures in a diagrammatic form, in a pictorial representation. For this purpose we make flowcharts. A flowchart is a graphical representation of the movement or action. It has got different symbols for each type of statement and for each type of statement. An oval symbol to represent the start and end state. A solid rectangle box to represent an action, and a diamond box to represent a decision statement. These are the major symbols of a flowchart. The if statement. The if statement is used when we have two or more statements to be checked under some condition. For example, if the total marks scored are greater than 60, then the student should be declared pass. The if statement will perform an action only if the statement is true. It will check the number of marks obtained. If the number of marks obtained are greater than 60, it will execute the next statement, which is under the if statement. It will execute the next action or statement, which is declare the student pass. And if the marks are not greater than 60, it will just escape this line and move forward. If the statement is false, we want certain action to be performed in that scenario, as well as in the if scenario. If the situation is true, we will use the else statement. If a situation is true, if will be executed. But what will happen if the scenario is false? If will not be executed, but we want some other action to take place. In such cases, we put an else statement. Else is a keyword. It does not perform any action. It only runs when if is false. Else does not check out any condition. It just performs an action if the if statement is false. Continuing the previous example, if the total marks are not greater than 60, then if statement will not be executed, and if an else statement is there, it will be executed in the scenario. For example, we have else declare the student fail, so fail will be printed. It is not necessary that every if has an else, but you can put an else. The compiler will read it. In this example, what we did was, if the total marks were not greater than 60, we did a printf under else, which said the student does not clears this course, and that statement will be executed only if the if statement is false. A nested if, or an if within an if. Whenever we have multiple conditions linked together, dependent upon each other, we use nested if. For example, taking the same scenario, if the student has scored more than 60, he is passed. Now we need to see what grade does the student gets. So, if the student has scored more than 75, he will receive a grade B. Or if a student has scored more than 85, he will receive a grade A. Else, the student will be given a grade C if the marks are not greater than 75. So, this is known as an if statement. As you can see, if, and then if you see the indentation, the second if comes under the first if, the third if comes under the second if, the fourth if comes under the third if. See the indentation, and this is known as a nested if. We use parentheses in our program in C language to define this. Every if that is nested is gonna come under the parenthesis of the previous if. In such cases, either we can use nested if or we can use else if statements. An else if statement is also similar to a nested if. The only difference is an else if statement will only work after an if statement. The first statement should be an if, and then you can put as many else if as you wish to, but an else if cannot come before an if statement. You can see this example to better understand the else if statements, the if statement, else if statement, else statements. Now, the next topic for today's class is operators. In the slide, you can see multiple operators that we have and how to write them in our code and what each operator does. Assignment operator plus my is equals to. What does this operator means? Whenever you will write in your C program any variable plus is equals to a number. For example, over here C is a variable plus is equals to 7. The compiler will understand it as C is equals to C plus 7. Whatever the value of C is, add 7 to that and you will get the new value of C. Similarly, minus is equals to C is equals to C minus 7. Whatever the value C has, minus 7, deduct 7 from it and you'll get the new value for C. Multiply is equals to, divide is equals to, mod is equals to, all these are same as the above one. You can see the sample expressions, their explanation, how C understands it and what output C will give when we'll write these expressions. The, other than these operators, we have got increment decrement operators. It has a default value of 1. Every time an increment operator will be executed, it will increase the value by 1, and in the same manner, a decrement operator will work. The increment decrement operators are mostly used in loops, which we'll be studying in our next class. And you will be able to better understand how does an increment, why do we need to put an increment decrement operator. Over here you can see in the slides, an increment operator is represented by a double plus, a decrement operator is represented by a double minus. which also is equals to, it can be used instead of c plus is equals to 1. It will have the same thing as the default value for an increment operator or a decrement operator is 1. The increment will always be made by 1 and the decrement will always be made by 1 by default if we do not mention the exact number what we want. Every time, for example, over here the variable taken is c. Every time I'll write c plus plus, it will do an increment. For example, the value of c is 3. If I execute c plus plus 4 times, the value of c would be 4, 5, 6, 7. And in the same case, the decrement operator will work. Now, what happens if you put the variable before the increment operator? What happens if you put the variable after the increment operator? You can see the precedence over here in this slide. This is an explanation of how does the increment operator works when the variable is before the increment operator and when the variable is after the increment operator. You can read this explanation for this purpose. Also, this is a code in which you can see how does an increment operator or a decrement operator is working, and you can also see what is the difference of putting a variable before an increment operator and putting a variable after an increment operator. See line number 13 and line number 19 for your reference. This is all for today's class. These operators will be used in our next class, which is loops. Thank you so much.